of Boundaries and Brotherhood. Your host, Gordon Watt. I'm trying to buy some time while Doc gets set up for TikTok.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
gonna
here
hit the
now.
invite link. I'm gonna hit that invite link for you to come share. Guys, if you're watching this on TikTok, please go on to our Facebook group, Boundaries and Brotherhood, our YouTube page. Get your questions answered. It'll pop up on our screen right here, and we can get this up. But from last week's episode, right? What's up, Daniel? What's up, Moy? How you been over there? My brothers from Cosmopolitan.
All
But I
right.
just wanted to say, I mean, this is why we do other things because today's topic, guys, is recovering abandoned dreams. Last week, doctor suggests that that would be a cool potential topic because a lot of the times, as men, the responsibilities we have, we start losing our dreams. What you mean between purpose, being the role, the father, the manhood, the provider, the protector, all that good stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Today's thing is how do you recover your abandoned dreams and not just play the role that you think society wants to see? Doc, how you been, Doc?
I've been good, man.
Busy?
I've been good. I've been extremely busy though. Extremely busy,
That's a good thing.
nonstop. Yeah.
Yeah. Let
So,
us know what
so
we're
yeah,
gonna be doing, right? Let us know what we'll be doing, and tomorrow we have a thing at our building. Let us know what we'll be doing while we get up all set up and do what we do.
yeah. So today we're going to be discussing, about abandoned dreams. And what I mean by that is a lot of times what happens with us as men is that we will get caught up with our responsibilities. We'll get caught up in our roles. We forget who we are. And when it's all
Mm,
said and done, we will sacrifice dreams, we'll sacrifice goals, we'll sacrifice so many things, thinking that that's par for the course. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to sacrifice everything that you are and for your family and for your wife, for all like that's what we think we're supposed to do. But again, kind of like I was saying last time, there's no one that said that you have to do that. There's no one that said that you have to abandon your dreams and your goals in order to take on the role of a father or a husband or a friend or whatever other role that you're partaking in, right? That you're doing, taking on. So today we're going to be talking about that, breaking that down, give you guys some strategies to recover your dreams and live the life that you're supposed to live in the first place.
right. How is it? Why do you think men abandon their dreams and abandon themselves sometimes?
Man.
I ask you the hard questions, guys.
Well, it's not so much a
We're
hard
both guilty
question
of it. We're
as
both
much
guilty of
as
it.
yeah, it's not so much a hard question as much as it is it's
Deep.
going to be a tough answer for people to swallow.
Of
Because
course.
ultimately it boils down to trying to get love. That's what it boils down to. We think that if we sacrifice everything, we'll finally be worthy of love,
Mm,
and it just doesn't work. And so now you've abandoned your dreams, you still don't feel loved, and now you're miserable, and now you're looking for trying to get a badge of honor for being stoic or trying to get a badge of honor for how much can I sacrifice, um yeah, trying to say that that's masculinity and things like that. But yeah, that's what it boils down to. That's what it boils down to.
I mean, for those of you out there that all of us have dreams at some point or another. You want to do something, you wanted to be something. Remember that dream that you shelved, whether it's opening your business, walking away from your job, or I mean, not say walking away from your job. Let's explore why men abandon their truest passions and how to reclaim them without sacrificing any of the responsibilities. Because you can do both. You
Yeah.
can do both. Because you got to think about, is your life draining you or is it amplifying the things that you got going on? Do you want to figure out a way how to redefine success, repurpose it, or just go beyond just being the provider protector and rediscover what truly makes you alive as a person? Like me and my kids, me and my stuff. He's like, I feel more alive than anything. And yesterday was a good one because my wife, we went out and got an less lethal for her.
Mhm.
You know what a less lethal is?
No.
It's a launcher. It's a less lethal firearm.
Oh, okay. Oh, one of the
The
ones that like you shoot out like
the
like the pepper
projectiles.
spray balls or things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because
Yeah, yeah,
you got
yeah.
some weird, you got some weirdos now. You know what I mean? She's like
Yeah.
at Walmart and everything else, and like she feels like this is what it's coming down to. So,
Hmm.
as one of the dreams of hers was actually, I digress into getting one of those for her safety and the kids, right? Because
Hmm.
I can't be around all the time. But remember a dream that you shelved, and that Doc's gonna show you how to reclaim that dream, still being yourself. If that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the like first things first, right? Again, as always, guys, it's about first you got to dismantle the whatever negative beliefs that you have that are keeping you from doing that, right? Abandon the idea of, oh, I have to sacrifice my dreams for my family, and I just can't have it. It's just not going to happen. Like first, you got to dismantle that, right? Because
That
if you
belief.
don't believe it can happen, then it's not going to happen. That's just a fact,
Interesting.
right? So that's the first thing. And the second thing is go back. Well, for one, I always recommend people get the book Built to Serve by Evan Carmichael.
Oh, let
If
me
you
write that.
want, if
Built to
it's
serve.
yeah, if you're trying to find your purpose, if you're trying to find your passion, if you're trying to remember what really drove you or made you excited, that book is a phenomenal way. It has the strategies and everything in it to help you do that. I've had that with my clients, and they're
Oh,
able to do
nice.
the exercises in it, and they're able to find out, oh shoot, yeah, this is what I love. This is what I was used to. This does reveal my passion or my purpose or whatever it is. It's like time and time again. And guess where they have to go back to? They go back to when they were younger. They go back to when they were creative and they could dream, and then there were no limitations on their dreams or their goals. Like whatever they wanted to be, whatever they wanted to do, their mind was just there to do it, right?
Built to
So
serve.
that's the first. So the first thing you do, dismantle the belief that you can't have it. The second thing is go back to when you were younger and start thinking about, again, that book can help you drastically, but go back to when you were younger and think about what are the things that you wanted to do? What were the things you talked about with your friends? What are the things you said to your parents you wanted to do? What are the activities you used to pour yourself into? Where are the things like where you would lose yourself for hours on end? Like, what were those things? What were those things that filled you up, right? Go back to that and start trying to find those things out, right? And then the third step I would say is then also identify not just what made you give it up, but what point did you give that up? And what made you do that? Was it because, oh, I'm married now, so that's not feasible? Or, which let me also say, again, being in a relationship should enhance your life, right? It should
Correct.
enhance your dreams. It should
Correct.
enhance your goals. If you get into a relationship and say, well, I'm going to sacrifice my goals and sacrifice my dreams because they're not realistic or whatever, or that's not going to take care of, like, you shouldn't even be if you can't take care of a family or support a family, you shouldn't be doing things that cause you to have a family. And I'll kind of leave that right there. But
You opened the
yeah,
can of
true.
worms.
Well, I guess I'll just say it. You
Good.
shouldn't be having sex before marriage, right? You shouldn't be having sex before this is the person I want to marry and I'm in a position to actually have a family. I'll just go out there and say it. Because a lot of guys, you end up having sex before you get married or having kids way too soon. And then now all of a sudden, it's like, oh, now I got to work. Now I can't do this. Now I can't do that. If you didn't have kids, you weren't in a relationship, you probably could go on tour. If you didn't have kids, didn't have a relationship, you probably could be an artist. You probably could do this. And then you could build it up to a point where you could sustain yourself. And then you get into a relationship and then you have kids. But that's something else that we do as men. We start doing these things and taking on all these responsibilities and making our life way more difficult than it has to be. Because Gordon, I don't know about you, but I don't know of any guy that was forced to sit down and sleep with the woman and get married and then abandon his. There's no one that's forced to do that. No one that's
The
forced to do
resentment. Yep. I
that,
mean,
right? So,
I'm guilty of it too, but
I
not
mean,
forced. It's like, you do the things that didn't appease you, and then, but at the same time, when you're a selfish person like me, and back in my past, you just didn't care about anything, so you just abandon everything, because But where it stemmed from was me feeling abandoned as a kid from my dad and mom. So that, I mean, that goes. I completely understand where you're going with that, because, but when you start abandoning your dreams for yourself, you start losing yourself and you start holding resentment for the people that's in your life right now. Like you
Yep.
said, Doc, right? If people in your life supposed to amplify you, whether it's in social life, make you feel good, your happiness, does it come with it pains and tribulations and problems and stuff like that? Of course it does. People are being people, right? But at the
Mm.
same time, people that you're supposed to be close with should amplify your happiness, your peace, and maybe your, let's say, social life, not the opposite way around. If they're draining you, in fact, I just put one, the lonely walk of acceptance of, sometimes you just got to walk away from the people, because if they're draining you, if life is draining you, something is definitely wrong, right? It should be, you know how life is good when life goes by fast. And coming from a person that sat in a prison for so long and being an addict and everything else, think about this. I wasted my time thinking I was being accepted with attention from being drug addicts, being all that good stuff, being a criminal. 10 plus years as far as being in prison and all that bullshit and all that crap. All for what? My ego and being trying to be accepted, and to think that was the dreams I was going to pursue compared to the dream that I have now that I'm living with my family. Because my biggest flex is always going to be my kids and my family and the man I became.
Hmm.
All the other stuff is just fluff, right? Does that
So
make sense, Doc?
yeah, but I just want to add to that, man. It's when it comes to, well, I guess I'll talk about that another play, because a lot of guys don't even know what their dream or purpose or passion is.
Ooh, talk
So
about
there's that
that.
aspect as well, right? So not only are there men that forget what their dream was and sacrifice it because they take on these roles too soon before they're
Mm-hmm.
ready, right? There's that, but there's also
Mm-hmm.
a lot of guys that have no idea what they want to do, and when they finally find out, they have all of these other responsibilities on them now, right? I have a wife, I have kids, I have this, I have bills, I have credit, right? I have all these things. So now, where I want to be a real estate investor, and I feel that's what I'm really good at. Yeah, well, you're kind of hamstrung. I mean, it's not impossible. That's all. We'll also talk about that later on as well. It's not impossible, but it's going to be a lot more difficult. Whereas when you were younger, if you could identify what your passion was, what your purpose was then, and then strive towards it, and the younger the better, because you can get more time in. And let's say if a 7-year-old, well, I've known a couple of people that they wanted to do something right when they were younger, and they were able to pour in all this time and effort and energy, and guess what, by the time they became a young adult, they were rolling, they were doing phenomenal.
Right.
So being able to identify that, not just remember what you were into and what you loved and things of that nature, but also being able to live it out and start practicing it when you're really young, when you have an abundance of time, right? So but I don't want to stray too far from it, right? Because the whole purpose of this one today, Gordon, is if you abandoned your dreams, right? So
Yep.
not necessarily if you didn't know it or things like that, but if you abandoned your dream.
Bandit.
So we're talking to the guys who they knew what they wanted to do, and for whatever reason, they didn't pursue it. So as far as that's concerned, you got to go back to your past, look and see again the book Built to Serve, find out what that was, and then once you identify what it is, right, you label, you find all the things. Don't say, well, I can't do it because I have all these responsibilities, right? We are made in the image of God, and there is nothing that if we set our mind to do, we can't do. It doesn't matter, right? Because you can say, oh man, yeah, I got a wife and I got kids, and Keith, you don't understand my financial situation. Da, da, da. I can guarantee I could probably take your situation, I can throw it into Chat GBT and say, find me 10 people who become wildly successful under either the same circumstances or worse, and I can guarantee
Absolutely.
it'll pick 10. So we can't use that excuse of, well, because of where I am now, I just it's impossible for you to do it. You can start dreaming now, right? Maybe you can't go out there and just, okay, I'm going to abandon my job and start this business and just hope for the best. Maybe you can't run out there and do that, but maybe you can start planning. I know there's a guy in Dr. Eric Thomas's camp. His name is Jamal King. He has this, he's called the 9 to 5 Millionaire. He has his own 9 to 5 Millionaire program. And that's not a plug or anything like that. I don't have anything to do with them. I'm just saying he was a
We got
police
our
officer.
own program.
Yeah.
We got our
he,
own program. The 11th man.
he was a police officer and he got interested in real estate investing.
Okay.
But he couldn't just up and leave his job. He couldn't just say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this. I quit," you know? But what did he do? He started doing research. He started learning. He started growing. He started indulging, and he started finding deals and passing them off to other people. Hey, here's a great deal. You should do something with it. Here's a great deal. You should do something with it. So by the time he got to a point where he could start doing things for himself, then guess what? He was able to leave his job as a police officer and fulfill his dream and his goal. So, I want you guys to think along those terms. Like whatever it is you want to do, it's possible to do it. Don't count yourself out. Don't abandon it. And I'm telling you, not only can you do it, especially with technology, the way things are,
Oh my goodness.
you can do it and still have a good marriage. You can do it and still have great kids. You can do it and still be involved. Will it take some more time and energy? Yeah,
Yes.
probably. But guess what? Maybe hey, I got to pull away from some things. Maybe I was heavily involved in this community stuff, but maybe I need to pull away from that. Or maybe I need to start cutting things out of my life that aren't actually fulfilling me anymore. And really start getting things organized and not just giving out my time and going and going and doing and doing and doing. So, I want you guys to think along those terms. Don't think about how it can't happen. Once you find out what that passion is, once you find out what your dream was, once you're like, okay, Keith, I got it. Now I want you to think in terms of, now how can I make this happen? Not if, but how. What can I do with what I have now to start making this thing happen? Maybe it's just planning right now. Maybe it's just doing research. Maybe it's just learning. Maybe it's honing my skills. Maybe it's making YouTube videos. Maybe like whatever it is. Maybe it's getting into some AI thing and putting a business plan together. But you can start doing something today. And the beautiful thing about it is that once you start doing that and you start moving in that direction, guess what? Guess who's there to help you? Your wife could be there to help you. Your kids can be there to help you. You might have friends that be like, "Oh shoot, man, hey, that's what you're trying to get into. Hey, I was thinking about that as well. Hey, let's partner together." But you start making progress moving forward. So just got to think with that mindset. So up to this point, destroy the belief that it can't be done, that you're too far along in life, or whatever the case may be. Destroy that belief. Go back to your childhood. Find out the things that filled you, the things that you enjoyed. And then once you do that, and of course, the book, Built to Serve. And then after you do that, then start thinking, okay, well, what can I do right now to start making this thing happen? So
Nice.
I
I got a comment from one of your people, Dr. Junior.
Yeah, that's my brother-in-law.
There you go. I mean, I can write you. Oh shoot. One of my
Also, Marlon, happy belated birthday. For whatever reason, I don't have you on my calendar, but I'm gonna get you on it. I know it things like 2 weeks ago on a Monday, so I'm gonna get that in the chat too. So don't worry, I got you.
I got stuff falling out. Like a lot of the times, guys, it's all about challenging the beliefs and then taking some sort of action with momentum that you can have for yourself. Because even like I can put this thing on the board right now on one of our papers or PDFs that we can use to help you challenge your things. Because the situation that you might be in and how you're feeling about it and what actions you can take can be all on the left side. In fact, screw it. Watch this stuff. We're gonna. This is part of some of the things that we're gonna be going over in our workshops and stuff, right? So if you're looking at this is some of the people that's watching this right now might recognize these things, right? So the situation might be here, an event right here, right? I mean, it's like dreams, right? Let's do this just for the hell of it, just to show these people that we can do this on YouTube, TikTok, and everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's your belief about your dreams? These are some of the stuff we teach in our workshop, Doc, and this is the stuff I use, right? That it can't be done. No time. Right? What's the emotional outcome if you can't fulfill your dreams, Doc?
Disappointment.
Right? Okay. And what happens to that behaviors when you have disappointment?
If you stay focused on disappointment, you become less productive. Right. You only focus on the negative. So you get less done.
Guys, this is just one of the things we're going to be doing with you when you work with us. I mean, we're just doing this as an example. Now, this side of the border of everything else is just all garbage. Would you say?
Yeah.
Now,
If you get stuck there, yeah.
perception
Yeah.
with your values, give me a value that you can use to challenge that with Doc to help you change your perception of fulfilling your dreams.
Hmm. Resilient, being
All
resilient.
right, perfect. So we're going to use that, right? We're going to use resiliency. Now, if you change your perception that you're a resilient person, how would that attitude, how would you think of yourself as being so much different as an attitude?
Um, being different as an attitude.
Like you would, if you were a resilient, if you thought of yourself, if you challenge yourself like your dreams
Oh,
and it can be
yeah.
done, but you change that I'm a resilient person, how would that change your attitude?
Oh, if I'm resilient, then I believe I can do anything. There's no
Right.
setback that can keep me back. Yeah.
So basically you change how you're moving around, right? Right.
Yeah. How you think, how you
Now
perceive things. Yeah.
the desired outcome of you can do anything would be what, for example? What we're
Oh,
talking about here, right?
you would achieve your dream, whatever that dream might
Exactly.
be, right? No matter
And
what.
when you can achieve your dreams, how will your behavior change?
Oh, you'll be more motivated, more energized. You'll
Yes.
have a better thought process. You'll be more pleasant. You'll be driven.
Everything comes down from that, right?
Yeah.
But look, we started out with the you couldn't do your dreams. Everything on the right here changes your perception. And guys, this is created for you to change your dreams, to change your perceptions based on what I've learned,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Once you know how to do this, life gets much easier. Behaviors, goals, dreams. Is it hard? Absolutely not that hard. But we just took that out from a context from one of our workshops, right? That will help you get what you desire to change your behaviors, all from your attitudes. Now, Doc, I hate
Yes.
to take that right? Was that cool?
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Go
Now, when for example, somebody that has, I had a guy call me up. He goes, Gordon, this just happened this week. You know, I get calls during the week about guys
ahead.
reaching out. He was Gordon, I want to learn something. This stuff, work is not doing good. How would I go about it? I told exactly what you said.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do, and what's the dream, and what action you going to take?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If
Yeah.
somebody and this person is deep in depression and anxiety,
Mm.
okay, what would you tell this person the steps to take?
Well, first and foremost, if they're stuck in anxiety and depression, we got to get that cleared out first because
Correct. That's
you're
what
in
I said.
survival mode. I think we talked a little bit about something like that last week. Yeah, first and foremost, I would look at the depression. I would say what's overwhelming you in your life. We get that categorized. We would prioritize what needs to be prioritized, and then after that, we would either delegate, automate, or eliminate whatever else is
Ooh, delegate, automate. Ooh.
um, get them to understand what they can control, what they can influence, what they can accept, or what they have to accept, or what they have to let go of. So I would do all that, clear out the overwhelm, clear out the depression. Then we'd attack the anxiety, see what they think that they're not prepared for, what's coming their way, and then rationalize it. Or do they have the capacity, or do they not? Right? Anxiety is not a hard. I mean, honestly, it's one of the easiest emotions to process through. It's very, very simple. It's because it's
Nice.
asking you one question: do we have the capacity to do the thing that's coming our way? That's simple.
Ooh,
That's all it is. And the answer is
that
either
is.
yes. If the answer is yes, you're done. That's it. You stop right there. If the answer is no, okay, then what do we got to do to prepare? That
Mhm.
literally is it, right? And so I would clear all that stuff out the way. Then once we clear that stuff out the way, now we can actually move from survival to thriving. And then I would start asking the question, hey, what's your dream? Well, my dream's to be,
Mm, nice.
the Super Bowl just passed. My dream's to be in the NFL, right? Okay, great. Your dreams to be in the NFL. All right. And then we'd go through and get the different information and things like that. And also be realistic, right? If you're 50 years old with a bad hip and your dreams to be in the NFL, yeah, I'm gonna be realistic with you. Like, hey, I'm not saying you can't put the work in. I'm not saying you can't get the
No,
physical
yeah, yeah.
stuff like that. But I'm just gonna keep it a stack. Like your competition is you know, 20, 30, 20, young 20-year-olds and 30, 30-year-olds, like seasoned 30-year-olds and things like that. They're in the prime of their life, right? Could you do it? I mean, if the team's willing to take a chance on you, right? But I'm never someone to tell you like, no, that's impossible. You can't do it because if
Anything's
how many
possible.
how many things would not happen if someone were to tell other people it's impossible, it can't happen.
Oh,
Some
yeah.
online bookstore, that's not going to work. That's stupid. Don't do that. You know,
Look at Amazon.
yeah, exactly. you know,
Look at Mrs. Fields cookies. I'm following that
you know.
exact blueprint right now with somebody else's product.
So it's along those lines. So I'm never going to tell someone they can't have it unless it says completely unrealistic. Like, you know what? I want to, I want to be a baby again. Well, all right, bro. Like, there's some trauma there. Let's do the real work now. We're not even going to talk about your dream. We're going to be working on like what's really going on inside of here because there's something. Let's get you back on track in reality.
Right.
So we're talking about people who are, hey, being realistic. And more often than not, what are the dreams? Hey, I want to play in a band, or hey, I want to start a business, or hey, I had this idea to create something, or generally speaking, that's the stuff it is. Hey, I want to do this career, or whatever the case may be. And so then we start talking about, okay, how can we do that dream? Or how can we do an adjacent to that dream? Because that's something as well. Sometimes it's like, yeah, well, the dream's just not going to really pay out like that, right? There's some dreams that are like that. I mean, unless you like really learn how to monetize it and turn it into a business and things of that nature. But some guys don't even want that. Some guys are just like, you know what? I just want a cabin in the woods where I can just live off the land. That's my dream. I don't want anything else. That's what I want. All right, cool, man. But I got a family and I got this and I got that. Maybe we can start working on putting a plan together to get this man in the cabin, and when they can go vacation there for a little bit. Maybe it's like, okay, you can't live there full time for whatever reason, but we can get there for vacation for now. Then when the kids get older or your finances get to a certain level or whatever, then it's like, oh, we're set. Now we can go live in the woods and we're good. Coming to town. So that's as far as that's concerned. So you asked a question: if someone comes to me and they're riddled with anxiety and depression and overwhelm and stuff like that, I clear that stuff out the way first. Then once they have their dream and their goal, then we start talking about how to achieve it. Not if, we talk about how we can achieve it, because we have to move to a positive frame of mind when we're talking about any of these things. So we're not listing all the ways it can't happen. That's a horrible way to go about it, right? You talk about all the ways that can happen. Will some things be difficult? Yeah. I'm not saying, some things may be difficult, but it's not a matter whether it's easy or difficult, right? Anyone who has a dream, you're trying to achieve it, it's not just, oh, that's easy. No, it's going to take time. It's going to take effort. There's going to be setbacks. There's going to be failures. There's going to be all that stuff like that. But the dream and the outcome and what you're looking for on the other side is bigger than all that. So that's the process that I would take them through. So in order for them to, again, get from where they are to where they really want to be.
Right. Because a lot of the time, for putting your dreams on the back burner or shoving the dreams, like I said, like, it happens in life. But for me, it's a good thing if you got the second chance, if you're still breathing, to get physically fit, to get healthy. Say that it's your dream, because your dream, I mean, somebody else's dream could be where you are right now, and you could be setting that example for it, right? Mm-hmm. Because I remember when I just came out, I was catching the bus, right? Because you got to catch the bus, you got to get a job, you got to catch the bus, you got everything. And I used to look at people like, I used to tell myself, I'm going to get this car, I'm going to get this, I'm going to buy this house, I'm going to get that. And everything, for some reason, came true because I manifested it also in a way that asking God, and He just provides the signals for it. So you should never shelve your dreams. You can always just like dust it off, because I'm living it right now, right? Because when you think about all the times I've spent thinking, when you just sit in, like, say, in your own echo chamber, when given a second chance, what's not What's stopping you from fulfilling your dreams, even in a small capacity? It's yourself. It's the boundaries, it's the limitations you put on yourself, the excuses that you made, and
Mm.
maybe the people that you kept around. Because the people that you keep around also affects what your dreams do, because some of them that you keep around might turn out to just be your own nightmare. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so let me ask you this, Doc, right? When it comes to in unshelving your dreams, should they work on momentum or work on themselves first and figuring that out first before they start going into that direction?
Oh yeah, you should definitely figure yourself out first. In a book I'm writing, the first chapter is it's about the book is about relationships. The first chapter is about you got to get yourself right first. Like, 'cause if you're not
Deep.
right, you're everything else is going to be tainted after that. You
Yes.
have to be right first. Some of us get into relationships for
Yeah.
the wrong reasons. It's supposed to be we
True.
can build together, but a lot of people get into relationships because what you can do for me. That's not the purpose of a relationship, and you wonder why it's not going well. Some people, they try to strive after their dream because they're trying to feel loved or wanted or considered or get that validation. That's a terrible, terrible reason to strive for your dream. And it's not saying they can't be successful in it, but they'll never be fulfilled ever. Those are the ones that are, on drugs. Those are the ones that are alcoholic. Those are the ones that are divorced and remarried 3 or 4 or 5 times. Those are the ones who are considering unaliving themselves. Then it's like, how is that possible? You literally have everything. You're successful. You have people. You have a company. You got money.
This.
You're all this, and it's like, yeah, because I wasn't using the dream for the right reason, right? And
Yes.
that's another thing as well. So yeah, work on yourself first because our dream shouldn't just be about us. If your dream is just about you, the dream is too small. It's
True.
too small, and there's a strong possibility it's not going to work
It's not
out.
gonna it's
Right?
not gonna pan out.
The dream you have should be bigger than you. It should be whether it includes your family or whether it's like I want to affect people in this way or I want to help
Hmm.
population. It should be something like that, something that's so big that if you achieve it or when you achieve it, you just keep growing it and you live that out for the rest of your life and you pass the torch on to someone else behind you who will keep that thing going. That's how a dream is supposed to be. It's not just about, oh, what makes me feel good, and I'll say this, maybe again, that's why I use the example of like
It's part of it. Part of it.
well, I mean, you'll feel good in it. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but I'm
Yeah.
saying if your only purpose is just to feel good, I don't know if that would be more so a dream or more like a hobby. So maybe the example of even
Mm.
like the cabin in the woods, like that doesn't really help anybody else except you. So that might be more like a hobby, and that's okay to have that. Let me also say that
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm not saying that's bad, right? I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying, as far as dreams are concerned, it should be something that's going to change somebody's life somewhere down the line, right? Because that's where the fulfillment comes in. But you'll never get that fulfillment if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, which is why you got to get yourself right first. So I know as I'm entering into this space, I'm being genuine and authentic. I'm not trying to get anything from you. I'm not trying to, force you to love me or I need your validation or I'm not doing that. I'm simply doing it because, hey, I want to provide this value or achieve it or whatever in order to make other people's lives better. You know, so saying all that, or I just have a great idea that's going to improve people's lives, right? So that's what I'm saying as far as that's concerned. So yeah, you got to get yourself right first so that you don't taint everything else that comes after that. But if you're not right first, you're going to inherently, whether you want to or not, you're going to taint what happens after that. And it's unfortunate. So
No, I get that part 100%, because the fulfillment that you pour into it for something that you said is going to be tainted, everything is going to be a wash later on at the end, and karma is going to come bite you in the butt because it's not from inside. I'll give you a perfect example. In the federal government, there's a thing called um, poison fruits of the forbidden basket, right? So convict personal federal times, when you get busted and they say that anything that you did after your seed money, your dirty money, they take everything away. And it's the same concept the way I see it, right? If your intention and your dreams was to take on something, but it's selfish, it will never it blossom into something bigger than yourself, like Doc said, right? Because like you said, if the dream is bigger than yourself and it helps other people get into that, you start pouring more into people, and that's fulfilling your dream, right?
Mhm.
Now, if your dream is basically something that you're going to be used to take, but you disguise it as something as helping people, it will not work. I've done that. I've tried it. It didn't work. For some reason, nothing gets lined up. But once you are wholehearted into that, and it's your dream and it's your passion, and you can reclaim that passion and mix that energy with it, guess what? You're going to have an integral personal fulfillment and a responsibility to others. And for some reason, things will just line up and fall right in place, if that made sense,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this now. How do you say I'm a man and I have a dream, and
Mhm.
how would you, whether it's a wild dream or something, like, how do you get your partner, your relationship, your wife, your second half, your other half, whatever, on board? Is it through sharing, communication, like, because you're in that space, right? Oh, I see a lot of smirk from Doc there. This is where something's gonna happen.
Well, because it goes back to what I was saying before, right? About you got to make sure you know what you want to do before you start getting into these relationships,
True.
right? Because you want to be able to get someone who could see your dream, if or and their life and the things they want, it all these things align. And it's not about we got to have it all together, but we should have some type of idea of what we're trying to strive towards. So, for example, if your dream is to be a long haul truck driver, like that's what you want to do, you want to travel all over the nation, you probably better get a woman who's cool, like driving with you all over the nation. Because you being gone for months and months at a time, or weeks and weeks at a time, is not conducive to a relationship. But if y'all in the truck together and you're like, yeah, we don't really want kids, at least not right now, maybe things will change later on down the road, then that's well, you can make that work. Or imagine if it's like, I want to start a business and this woman's like, cool, because I'm great with accounting. That's great. So as far as that's concerned, so it's really important, gentlemen, if you're not in a relationship or you just got out of a relationship, don't hop back into another one. Get yourself right. Find
Get
out what
yourself
you want
right.
to do. Find out your dreams. Start striving towards those. So now when you go out and you're actually dating with intention, you can actually get and start talking with women that align with you a whole lot more as far as your dreams are concerned. And this is so that you don't have to, again, abandon your dreams. Now, for those of us who are married, we didn't do it the right way for whatever reason, right? What you want to do is have that open, honest communication with your spouse. You got to talk with her, right? And you got to, and you have to take what she's saying into consideration. And the thing is, let's just say this is where it can kind of get dicey, right? She might be like, yeah, I don't think it's a great idea, whatever, right? And a lot of guys would be like, well, shoot, since she's not backing me, then I guess I'm just not going to do it. No, not necessarily. I'm probably going to disturb some homes right now.
Wait, let
So
me put the focus on there,
yeah,
on you right now.
what I'm not saying is go take mortgage money or let's do all this stuff behind the scenes that's going to disrupt the whole family. And if it falls through, and then your wife comes and finds an eviction notice on the door, like what the heck? Oh yeah, I was trying to strive for my dream. I watched that Boundaries and Brotherhood video, and I was just going for it. Like, nah, don't leave this part I'm about to say, right? No, you do not want to put your family, because remember, you took on those responsibilities. When you got
Correct.
married, you had kids, you took on that responsibility, said, I'm going to take care of them, right? You took that responsibility on. So you don't want to put your family in a situation where it's like, dang, now we homeless. Now we're living with our in-laws again or something like that, right? So you got to make sure you're talking with her and you're on the same page. If for whatever reason you're not on the same page, but she's like, hey, listen, I don't really want that. But hey, if you can do it and it doesn't affect anything, by all means, right? So, and if you have that, then by all means, go ahead, right? As long as you're taking care of your responsibilities, you're not jeopardizing the family or anything like that, by all means, go ahead and do it, right? And again, it doesn't necessarily have to start with, oh, well, I'm just going to abandon everything. It can start with planning, right? When you think
Plan.
about it,
Yep.
anyone's doing a dream, it doesn't just start with, well, now I'm in the a big building, you know, it's like a $3 million, debt on it, and I don't even know if it's gonna work. Like, you don't know what jumps to that. So you could start building out your dream, and you can start small. You don't have to get it all at the same time. But if you with a this is where you have the partner who's saying, "Hey, I think it's a bad idea, and you better not do it."
Oh, talk about that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that that's when you got to put your foot down and say, "I'm gonna do it." You know, and well, I'm gonna with the whole sex. I guess that's what you're gonna do. Well, I'm not gonna talk to you. Well, thank God for peace and quiet. You know.
Have you had clients that come to you for that type of situation?
No, actually,
No.
to tell
Okay.
you the honest truth,
Interesting.
all the clients, because again, if you have a good relationship with it, you want 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have that.
Right.
If
Right.
you
Right.
have a conversation, because guess what, people love each other. So that's more of an outlier than anything else. And if your relationship is that bad and that toxic, then why are we even talking about having dreams with someone like that? And then maybe that's what it is. A lot of guys who have dreams and goals, because the relationship is so toxic, they don't want to open up and share. So that's why I don't see a lot of that stuff coming.
Mm, mm.
So,
That's
so
big.
the first two examples, right? You have the wife that's all on board and great. Chances are the communication is probably great in your relationship. For the next one, maybe she doesn't necessarily, it doesn't necessarily align up with, she's cool with you doing it, but it's just like, hey, those don't put us at harm. And then the third example, if you have someone that's detrimental and that's saying like, hey, listen, I'm going to punish you for trying to go for your dream, which to me sounds like a toxic relationship anyways, which
Right. I
that's
was just
the case,
about to
again,
say
you need to consider that. But that's when you put your foot down and you say, I'm gonna do it, right? Because chances are, I'll say this, chances are, if
what it is.
chances
Dreams go abandoned because most people are too busy building someone else's dream. At least for me, that was. Oh, shares.
and
Please answer that one, Doc.
I'll touch on that in 1 second. I'll touch on that in 1 second. So for this last part though, yeah, if you're with someone like that, who's just poo-pooing your dream and things like that, you have more serious issues going on. But that's when you would set up boundaries, right? So you probably wouldn't
Mhm.
share anything with them, right? You probably wouldn't talk to them about your dream anyway as you're building it. Because if they're not going to build you up, if they're not going to support you, or at least not tear you down at the very least, then you don't want to, you probably shouldn't be open up and sharing with that, right?
Let me address this one. Guys, if you have a question, go on to Boundaries and Brotherhood on Facebook, my personal Facebook page. If you're on this TikTok, go on to YouTube, search up Boundaries and Brotherhood. You can get your questions answered right now, free, live, leading on, because this is when we're going to hit. Doc, I'm going to ask a question because I know when I cut up this, it's going to be really good, right?
Yeah.
Why do what is it? Dreams go abandoned because most people are too building somebody else's dream. How would you answer that one? Is it because of no, like you said, no communication, no boundaries, or is it just something that most people passively do?
Another uncomfortable answer.
Yes,
Um,
yes, we do
but
uncomfortable here.
yeah, but it comes down to people pleasing, right?
Ah,
It comes
never
down to
seen
people
that angle.
pleasing, right? And what is people pleasing? I'm trying either to avoid getting hurt or I'm trying to earn love. Neither is good. Neither is good.
Neither is okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that one.
I mean,
Yep.
think about it. If I'm because it's in a covert contract. I'm not being nice because I'm just genuinely nice. A lot of times people pleasing people think that. At least I thought that, right? And a lot of people I've worked with thought that. But when you dig a little bit deeper, and you don't have to dig that deep, what it really boiled down to? It was both. I didn't want to get hurt, right? So if I'm overly nice and overly
Right.
sacrificial and always giving, then guess what? No one's gonna hurt someone like that. Generally, they're not going to hurt someone like that. But there's a lot of people that find out, like, shoot, I still get hurt. Or you think, like, if I continue to pour out and pour out and sacrifice, then finally they will see it and they'll recognize all the sacrifice and they will finally love me. This doesn't work either.
One more.
So
Yep.
we're coming at it from a wrong perspective, right? So that's why I would say if people are abandoning their dreams or things like that, it's like, Yeah, we shouldn't do that. And on top of that as well, because let's go from a logistical point of view, right? Because maybe it's okay, it's two people, husband and wife, and they're like, hey, we both have these dreams, but they're going like this, right?
Apart.
And in order for us to, either one of us to achieve our dream, this is the thought process, one of us has to lose. My question is why? Why
I
do
was
one of
just
us
about to
have
say, why would one have to lose?
we should be yeah, we should be
What?
sitting down and talking about how can we both win? How can we
Yeah,
both,
I mean,
what
hmm.
what are the steps? And again, maybe it's like, yeah, I want to be a rock star and travel all around the world and everything like that. And it's like, well, I want to be a teacher and work in a school. All right. And it's like, well, shoot, we have two completely different dreams. Like they're going in different directions, right? Okay, well, let's sit down and try to see how we can make it work, right? Maybe she, maybe the wife or the husband, right? Whoever it is, maybe maybe they do virtual stuff. So maybe they can travel with their spouse and do virtual stuff. Maybe. I don't know, right? Maybe they work something out or plan something out, but there should be talking with one another, right? It shouldn't be abandoning my dream to fulfill your dream. It should be, how can we fulfill our dreams together?
Together.
How can we
That I
both
mean, yeah,
win? I don't want my wife not being able to do the things that God has designed her to do, that she's, I don't want to take that from her, right? And then vice versa. She doesn't want to take that from me. We want to build each other up. So that's what I would say, when you're in those situations, we want to make sure it should be that, it
right.
should be that. And also, let me also say this, please, you should be open, and if you should be able to talk about what your dreams are, because sometimes people abandon their dreams quietly. So for instance, maybe the
Ooh,
maybe the husband says, hey, I wanna go do this. And the wife was all loving, it's like, okay. But she's not telling him, yeah, I really want to do this too. But she says, well, let me sacrifice this because I love him so much. Well, he loves you too. He wouldn't want you to just sacrifice. Let's have a conversation.
yeah. Ooh,
Or vice versa. The guy's like, well, I'm going to build my wife up and I'm going to sacrifice because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm not going to tell her about my dreams because, she's just on the up and coming and the rise and everything like that. And it's like, but you didn't open up, and it's unfair to the other spouse, because sometimes what ends up happening is now we have that resentment like you talked about earlier,
yeah.
and it's
Lemon, yeah.
like, well, I gave up all this stuff for you, and what do people usually say? I didn't ask you to give that up for me. That's usually the phrase, which is a dagger in someone's heart. Can you imagine that? I
Yeah,
gave up my dream, right? Although I wasn't asked, I gave it up
yeah.
because I love you. At least that's what I'm saying. And then you get it thrown back in your face, like, I ain't never asked you to do that. So
Right,
essentially, your sacrifice means nothing. Like, I didn't ask you
right,
to
right.
hold that over
And
my
this is why
head.
people get divorced at a later age.
Yeah. But but ultimately, and again, hard answer, but ultimately they're not wrong. If you didn't
No,
open up and say, hey, this is my dream. Now, if he said or she said, hey, you know what? Hey, your dreams, I don't care about them, right? F you and your dreams, right? If that's what they're saying, right, then that, of course, that's a problem. But if you're not speaking up, if you think that sacrifice automatically equals love, or that's not how it works. So I would say you need to really ask yourself the question, sit and have an honest conversation with yourself. What makes me think I have to sacrifice my dream in order for him or her to have their dream? Like, why is that the case? Like, who said that? Who set that rule? Like, we should be
there
able
we
to
go
have
with the rules
an
again, right?
honest, loving conversation because we love each other, and we both should be trying to make each other win. That should be what we're trying to do. So I would say that's how I would respond to that, as far as like abandoning your dream for somebody else. That's what I would say.
That's deep. That's
Yeah.
really, really deep because understand that, a lot of times people go through this type of stuff, but they don't want to be open about it and actually hold that resentment later on in life. Because, like I said, I couldn't understand, like, I understand where two people can go apart because of their dreams and one didn't communicate itself. But when you build each other up and you lift each other up, so both dreams can coincide with each other, guess what happens? Now your life is amplified, and it came from a just from that because now, yeah, I mean, relationships, you have miscues, you have miscommunication and everything else, you have kids involved, it amplifies it, the work related, everything, all this stuff. But as long as you have open communication, dreams are still being fulfilled, and it's working towards that.
Yeah.
Guess what happens? The sacrifice is always usually temporary, right? The
That
sacrifice that you
part.
could is temporary because that dream can still be fulfilled, right?
Yes.
With the right
Yes.
people in your corner, with the right people supporting you, with the right people encouraging you, with the right
Absolutely.
people that you might not have. And even if
Mhm.
you're not getting it at home, you can get it with us through the brotherhood or
Yeah.
people that support you in every way, because it's good to have people that understand different angles and want you to succeed, not just in your relationship, but in life in general, right?
Yeah.
Because even like my friend, like you were saying, my your truck driver, I got a friend that you mean he's like one of the uh one of uh one of my best friends. He started out living in in my room when I didn't have nothing. Now he
Hmm.
lives, like you said, in a $3 million house, but he's always had that open communication with his wife, and I
Hmm.
watch his daughter. This is how
Hmm.
close we are, right? But it's like he does work hard, but they both was on the same page, and this is what they was going
Yeah.
through, and
Yeah.
that's what gives them their power and things to do for
Yeah.
them. Now, if you're in a situation where you might not have the communication skills, you might be stuck in not finding your purpose, you might be stuck in not having the confidence, right? This is what this page and channel is all about. It can be in the dating, it can be in business, it can be in using tools, right? In fact,
Hmm.
I have meetings right after this because I got a couple companies wanting me to do some work for them. And
Hmm.
that's part of my dream, dissecting marketing plans for other people. Right?
Yeah.
I'm really damn good at it.
Hmm.
I didn't even realize that shit either. But and Andrea said, just go for it. I'll handle it for it. Because at the end of the day, she knows it's temporary because I've done it
Hmm.
before when we had the kids. Now the kids is all kind of like getting independent.
Yeah.
It's like it's a perfect time because now I'm just laying the groundwork. I mean, the groundwork is just like it's flawless to the point where if you want some of this action, hit us up, guys. Right, Doc? I think so. We should end it right there. I kind of went off for a little while. I did the Doc
Yeah.
move.
Well, I mean, let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up
Yes,
first.
sir. Yes,
Let's
sir.
kind of put it all together. So, we talked
Please.
about recovering. The whole idea is about recovering abandoned dreams, right? And so, again, destroy the belief first and foremost that you can't do it, that it's impossible, right? Of course, we're talking about, again, realistic dreams. And, we didn't really talk too much in depth about this, but there are some dreams, like I give the example of 50 years old with hip issues and back issues trying to go to the NFL. There are some dreams that it's a little too late for those, right? If your dream of being a valedictorian of your high school, a little too late once you graduate, right? That's done and over with. But there are many realistic dreams that we could still achieve, right? So maybe if you're even that you're 50-year-old, right? And it's like, well, maybe not the NFL, but I still want to play football. You can get yourself in shape. There are plenty of semi-pro leagues and all
Oh,
types of stuff out
absolutely.
there
Yeah.
that you can still thoroughly enjoy, like for yourself, right? Or if you want to start that business, there's so many stories. I gave you the example. You could take your information. If you really think that your situation's impossible, just write it out however you want to write it out, put it into ChatGPT and say, hey, this is my situation. Please find me 10 examples of people that had a similar situation and still were able to be successful. And I can promise you it will pump out 10 examples of
Oh,
people who
yeah.
are being successful, right? So you have to know that whatever you're trying to achieve with whatever your scenario is, you can achieve it 100%. Identify what your purpose is. That's going to be a huge help for you because that's the thing. When you have your purpose, right? That's your dream, right? That's the thing you want to achieve and want to do. Once you have that, then you get fulfillment. But make sure, like we talked about earlier, you're good first so that you could actually be authentic in what you're doing, not trying to do it in a way that's people pleasing, in a way that's trying to get validation, in a way that's trying to get conditional love. You're not trying to do it like you're just trying to do it because it's what you love and you want to help the people. Like that's what you want to move into that space. Then if you're in a relationship, work on your communication skills. Talk to your wife. Talk to her about how your dream and what it means to you, right? Have that open discussion. And again, it's either she's going to be all in, or at the very least, she'll be neutral as long as you're not destroying the family as a result. right?
Correct.
And if you're in a situation where your relationship is so bad and off kilter, then maybe the conversation about your dream, maybe that's not the go-to right now. Maybe the conversation needs to be about, hey, what do we got to do about this relationship? Are we going to work on it, make it better, or are we going to, call it quits? And then I'm going to go off and do what I'm ready to do. I'm not advocating leave. I'm just saying, if you're in that situation, it can be very difficult. I'll tell you that when your relationship is not good, it could weigh on you heavy. Even if you're not open up and talking about your dream, if your relationship is really bad, it can weigh on you and drain you. It could really can. So getting that stuff worked out will be very beneficial and helpful. I mean, in business, they say the most important business decision you can make is who you decide to spend the rest of your life with, right? Who you decide to marry. So keep that in mind. And as far as like abandoning dreams, for other people, don't. There's no need to. There should never be a need to. You should be open and authentic the very moment you meet someone, and you should be talking about this. And for those of you who don't know what your dream is, right? Take time to figure it out. Take time to figure it out. And those of you who are married and don't know what your dream is, take time to figure it out. We mentioned the book earlier, Built to Serve. Strongly recommend you reading that book. Strongly recommend you reading that book. And also I will say this, the last thing, right? If you don't know what your dream is and your spouse does know what her dream is, then help her build her dream.
Right.
Why not? You ain't doing nothing in the meantime anyways. Help her build her dream. Still try to figure
Right.
out what yours is, but if you don't know, then hey, yeah, help her with that. So that's I'll wrap it up with that, Gordon. Right. And if you
No,
guys
no,
need
no,
any help,
man.
yeah,
I just want to say this because Doc also has a book also, right? Let me change my stuff right now. Doc has a book also that he just wrote for the relationships. As you say, you can find it on Amazon right now. Doc, what's the name of your book, Doc?
it's called Yes Sir Communication.
It's
Right.
so new, we didn't even get it yet printed yet because it's still coming in the mail, right?
Yeah, still waiting
Yeah.
on it. Still waiting on it to
But
come
I was
in.
just
Yeah.
want to say, I just want to say, who are we? We're Boundaries and Brotherhood, and I'm going to put this side up here. If you're looking for emotional mastery, somebody that wants to help you hold yourself accountable, you need somebody to lean on, and you want to master communication and build up your self esteem. This is we're a group of men. Doc is that's his legal profession, where you can get real life coaching from me, from insights from my past history. And I'm going to tell you this right now. You see a lot of people doing these videos with the jail guys and all this stuff. None of them are partnered up with a doc, a therapist in this essence to get you the help that you need. You have insights, real world insights, plus real life coaching from a real life therapist that has, we've been working together for a long time right now. In fact, we got to meet up tomorrow at the building. But at the
Yes.
same time, if you want your questions answered and you want to take the assessment, you want to learn about how you can move on, fulfill your dreams, take the assessment down below, assessment.boundariesandbrotherhood.com, to get into our community. We will reach out. We will get it. And please, if you're watching this on TikTok, please hit that follow, like, share button. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and hit that notification bell, because if you know anything about me, every day I post on automation. There's about 9 videos that help you out throughout the day. One day could be about dreams, one could be about this. And a lot of it comes from our past content that has worked from Doc himself. Guys, let's end with that. We'll see you next week, Thursday. Doc, you have any closing remarks besides that? And if you want to work with him personally, how can he get in touch with you?
Well, you could scan that QR code right there to
I think
start.
the
Um,
QR code is backwards though.
yeah. Is it still look backwards? It said, I think to my wife said to other people it's supposed to look forward. So
Okay,
I don't
it's a
know.
mirror effect. But
Yeah.
anyway,
But
how
in
about
any
we do
case
this? Watch
though, but
this.
honestly,
We're gonna
I'm
put
not hard
this.
to find. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I remember I was talking to my I was talking to someone at one point in time, and we were parting ways, and I said, I can't give you my information, but I promise you I'm not hard to find. You type in my
Yes,
name,
sir.
Keith Fairclough, I'll be at the top of the list, right? And I'm not saying that braggadociously. I'm just saying I'm not hard to find. I'm on all social media. All those social media is there: Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, in LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm on all those. Um, yeah. So just look me up. I'm on the mental health platform, Psychology Today, Alma, Headway, Simple Practice.
He's
I'm
all
like
over.
American Express. I'm everywhere you want to be. All right.
I like that one.
So,
That's gonna be a new tagline. We're everywhere you want to be, like American Express. All right,
so
guys. This is Gordon Watt from Boundaries and Brotherhood. Guys, take the assessment. Doc, close it out. We'll
y'all
see you
take
guys next
care.
week.
Have a great and blessed week. And we'll see you next week. All right.
All right, I'll see you guys. Bye. Oh, that's funny. Oh crap! I gotta end the stream.